What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE changes 3 wrestlers' names, major WrestleMania plans for Alexa Bliss, the Hardy Boyz are not done in WWE, the Undertaker refuses to come out of retirement, a wrestler wanted for arrest, the real reason why New Jack is in 2K25, Lana and Rusev back together, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. Now let's do the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at WWE changes 3 wrestlers' names. At top of today's news is a report that WWE is playing the name game again, as Ringside News is reporting on name changes to 3 superstars on the Red brand, beginning with Seth Rollins, who is no longer going by his freaking nickname. Fans tuning into Raw's main event noticed the freaking nickname was absent from Seth's entrance graphic, but that's not all, as Ringside News noted that they've also changed Bronson Reed, who has lost Big from his name, and Dominic Mysterio is no longer billed as Dirty Dominic Mysterio. WWE.com has already updated their profiles reflecting the change. There's no word on what led to the change or whether more name changes are coming, but we're kinda glad that they got rid of the freaking in Seth Rollins' name. What's the point of it? Are you glad WWE has made these changes? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, a double champion crowned at NXT Roadblock. There's big news coming from Tuesday's NXT Roadblock special as Women's North American Champion Stephanie Vaquer pinned NXT Women's Champion Julia to become the new champion. There was a major reason why they actually made Stephanie Vaquer double champion. As you may recall, rumors Julia needed time off to deal with nagging injuries, and while this hasn't been confirmed, some fans believe it's why WWE booked this dream match so early during both superstars' NXT run. Nevertheless, congratulations to Stephanie Vaquer for becoming a double champion. This is actually the second time it's occurred in NXT, as you remember that Keith Lee was also NXT World Champion and North American Champion at the same time. Next up, major WrestleMania plans for Alexa Bliss. How is WWE finally moving forward with the apparent plans to involve Alexa Bliss with the Wyatt Six? While there were rumors WWE dropped plans to involve Alexa with Uncle Howdy's ghoulish group, this no longer seems to be the case based on the clues fans have seen during Alexa's appearance on TV and PLE. And now WrestleVotes is letting fans know to keep a sharp eye on Bliss at WrestleMania 41 as there are major plans for her. I've heard she's planned for a major angle there. Something will happen at WrestleMania that will blow wide open what she will be doing. It'll be tied to the Wyatts. I don't know in what form or fashion, but I'd look for that to happen. The WWE hasn't announced anything for Bliss yet at WrestleMania, but there was talk of a Judgment Day vs Wyatt Six program at the Show of Shows. This year's Mania is only 5 weeks away, so expect more developments as the road to WrestleMania draws closer to Las Vegas. Next up, the Hardy Boyz are not done in WWE. Matt and Jeff Hardy successfully retained their TNA World Tag Team Championship against NXT champions Frank Shimmer, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom, but it looks like the Hardys are setting their sights on the Tag Team's Championship. Matt and Jeff spoke after their successful title defense, with Matt noting, "Unfortunately, the NXT titles weren't on the line. Maybe next time the NXT titles will be on the line, because that is something the Hardys do not have on their list of gold." Jeff praised for Axiom's work, calling them to be the fastest team he's ever worked against. Do you think the Hardys should win the NXT Tag Team Championship? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Scott Steiner blasts Hulk Hogan. Now, Scott Steiner still has plenty to say about Hulk Hogan, as seen during an appearance on Chris Van Vliet's podcast. Steiner discussed whether he still has any ill will towards the Hulkster, beginning by pointing out what he sees as the well-documented differences between the character Hogan portrayed in public and who he really was behind closed doors. There's a reason why he got booed in California, all this stuff that came out with him, racist comments. Now, you would have never found that out if it wasn't recorded behind closed doors, so I think a lot of people realized the perception that WWE or WCW wanted of Hulk Hogan was not really him. The racist comment, Hogan and Savage. I was good friends with Savage, so I knew all the stories and he used to tell me all the stuff. Steiner said that while he's at a point in his life where he doesn't hold grudges, he doesn't forget what caused them. Pro Wrestling self-proclaimed genetic freak said that he learned of Hogan's political plays, and it really upset him. However, not much as when he claims Hogan tried to get him arrested. That incident took place in 2015 when Steiner ran into Hogan's wife at the airport. I told her he was a piece of shit for that whole situation, and I was gonna slap the shit out of him. Nobody heard me. It was very low-key and I didn't raise my voice or anything. Grabbed my bags and left. Well, she called Hogan, he came to the airport, and then he called the San Jose Police Department saying that I slapped her and I threatened to kill him. Well, that's terroristic threats and aggravated assault. According to Steiner, he faced up to 15 years in prison had he been convicted. Fortunately, video evidence cleared him of wrongdoing and the case never went far. The police became involved, but the situation blew over and no charges were filed. Recall reports that Steiner was barred from the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony that year over concerns about the threats. But what do you think of this story involving Hulk Hogan and Scott Steiner? Surely if Hogan's wife was lying and that there was proof of it, shouldn't she be arrested instead? Next up, The Undertaker says no chance in hell to doing this. Could WWE fans see The Undertaker return to the ring for one last match? Taker made a surprise appearance at Wrestlemania 40, helping Cody Rhodes thwart the Bloodline's interference during Cody's match against Roman Reigns. But could he come back for a match? Well, the Phenom discussed this during his 6 Feet Under podcast, saying, not a chance in hell. What do you guys think? Should Taker come back for one match for John Cena's last year in WWE? Next up, Lex Luger talks who should induct him into the Hall of Fame. Lex Luger is finally entering the WWE Hall of Fame, but who will induct him? While nothing has been announced yet, the Total Package recently chatted with Eric Bischoff on his 83 Weeks podcast, sharing who he'd like to see induct him and telling Bischoff that he's comfortable making long scripted speeches. Oh yeah, it's real short. 2 guys. I'm trying to get 2 guys instead of 1, because I'll probably want to do just a few minutes from my heart when I get up there. DDP and I have been trying to work on the walk. We're not there yet. So I go, we're hoping, but man, if I could have my 2 guys up there with me, man, DDP on my shoulder kind of spotting me and Sting on the other, if it's possible. I go, man, that would be amazing. So we shall see. If I have anything to say about that, that would be my pick. That would be, for me, the ultimate. While the Hall of Fame is a fun event, it also involves marketing and politics, which is why some very deserving names haven't been inducted, and why inductees don't always get to choose who inducts them. Given Sting ending his career in AEW, WWE management might not want to have the Stinger on TV. But you think Lex will get his wish, and if not, who else should induct him? Next up, AEW's original plans for Revolution pay-per-view revealed. It was time for a look at what AEW reportedly had planned for Sunday's Revolution pay-per-view. While some fans question why the widely praised Mariah May vs Toni Storm Falls Count Anywhere match wasn't booked as the main event instead of Jon Moxley's AEW World Championship defense against Cope, which was actually panned by some fans and critics for failing to live up to the main event hype, Brian Alvarez reports AEW had bigger things planned for the main event. Speaking on the Wrestling Observer Live, Alvarez noted, "I do know this, okay? I don't know all the details, but there was an idea for the main event that involved way more people than ended up being out there, including some returns. At the last minute, it just got axed. I don't know who it was, but there was a second plan that didn't take place. It wasn't Shane McMahon, for the love of God. Whatever it was, it involved people who had been there before or had been in the past. It was not a Shane McMahon debut." According to Alvarez, I'm 99% sure that no matter what was planned before or after, Moxley was always retaining and he was always going to face Swerve at the next pay-per-view. Whatever the plans, Revolution's main event was anticlimactic compared to the women's match, and it's another reminder of AEW's continued booking struggles. Ironically, the show was seen as a strong one up until the main event, and it'd be interesting to know what big surprises AEW thought would make the main event stand out. Next up, a wrestler wanted for an arrest. As disturbing news concerning indie wrestler Charlie Tiger aka Charles Hutton, as Ringside News reports that Tiger faces charges over an alleged incident where he caused a major disturbance. According to Lower Allen Township Police, Hutton was spotted at Sheetz at 1508 Cedar Cliff Drive in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania on March 3rd, waving a massive blade and screaming in the parking lot. Witnesses reported that he stripped off his clothes, charged at people, and then stabbed a van, causing over $2,000 in damages before bolting from the scene in a red Subaru. The Daily Voice mentioned how a Good Samaritan stepped in, saying, "Inside the store, terrified customers watched as a Good Samaritan disarmed Hutton, taking the weapon before he bolted in a Subaru," police said. Officers arrived to find the machete dumped on a trash can outside and used witness accounts, surveillance footage, and Hutton's driver license to confirm his identity. Hutton was charged with making terroristic threats back in February when he allegedly threatened an IRS employee, leading to the IRS facility being evacuated. Hutton competes in Game Changer Wrestling, but it could be game over if these charges stick. Next up, the real reason why New Jack is in 2K25. ECW legend New Jack's inclusion in 2K25's DLC proved quite the shocker, as few fans expected to see him in the game. And now PW Insider is reporting on who backed the controversial wrestler's role in the game, none other than WWE President Nick Khan. Khan is reportedly a big fan of New Jack, or was a big fan of New Jack, and lobbied for him to get into the game. Kind of insane considering that New Jack actually stabbed wrestlers in the ring. Next up, Stephanie McMahon's new show debuting soon. Fans waiting to watch Stephanie McMahon's new interview about Stephanie's Places don't have much longer to wait, as it's been reported that Stephanie's Places premieres March 26 on ESPN+, Hulu, and Disney+. The first guest has also been announced, being CM Punk. Other guests have also been announced, including Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns, Pat McAfee, The Undertaker, Triple H, and heel John Cena. And finally, Lana and Rusev back together. And last but not least, happy news for wrestling couple Miro and CJ Perry, aka Rusev and Lana, as TMZ reports that the couple have reconciled after nearly divorcing. The two broke up in winter of 2023 after tying the knot in July 2016. Miro filed for divorce, but he revoked it on July 31st. Now, in addition, TMZ reports that the two renewed their vows at a small ceremony in Los Angeles, and that we're told CJ and Miro are living together, splitting their time between the City of Angels and Bulgaria. And congrats to CJ and Miro on their happy reunion. Do you think we'll see them in WWE again? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.